right, now we need to look at an example of acquired brain injury, a case study. Um, and Phineas Gage is the one that is always, always done. This is really famous. Maybe you've heard about it before. There are amazing YouTube videos about it as well. But it's a famous case study. So Phineas Gage was only 25. He was part of a crew that was cutting a railroad bed. Um, he inappropriately packed explosives and dynamite into a hole as part of his work, which made an explosion occur. There was an iron rod in the ground, and it blew right out and through his cheek and out through the top of his skull, leading to a really significant brain injury. Phineas did survive, surprisingly, but after the incident, everyone said that his personality changed drastically. He also died quite early on as well. But he was said to become no longer Gage. He was said to become like a different person. He became aggressive, impatient, difficult to work or get along with when he was basically the opposite. As you can surmise as well, his frontal lobe was damaged. We said that part is responsible for higher order thinking and personality traits. Phineas Gage is an example of a case study that kind of shows the importance of the frontal lobe as well. Yeah, I wonder what else I should say. He even remained conscious when it happened. He saw a doctor. Um, his doctor is the one who found him famous because he acted as a case study. He became a really aggressive, again, person, profane, um, and he changed his job, changed his whole life, and he died at 36 after a series of seizures. Apparently, he even coughed out a cup's worth of his brain when it all happened. Um, so his case is one that the earliest one that suggests a link between brain trauma and personality change. Okay. So as part of looking at brain injury, we need to understand that there's biological changes. An injury to the cerebral cortex results in a reduced level of movement, and facial expressions may become blank. We can see Phineas Gage, his brain here, exactly this happened to him. Reduced level of movement, blank facial expressions, apathetic looking. Physical symptoms as well, due to brain injury, such as headaches, nausea, dizziness. You may add fatigue to the list as well. These are all indicators of brain injury. There are also psychological changes. People who have had an injury to anywhere on their entire cerebral cortex tend to have quite a few psychological changes, including a consistent lack of concern about anything. So I said apathetic before, increased aggressiveness, inability to plan, impulsive, silly, and unpredictable behavior because they're not behaving as they were before. So these are also based around Phineas Gage, but they've been found to be quite consistent. So you need to know these types of changes. As you can see, it's the biopsychosocial model again. We looked at biological and psychological, and now we're looking at social. So injury to the cerebral cortex often results in changes in personality, which can lead to breakdown of relationships with family, friends, and colleagues, and have a major social impact. This happened to Gage. He quit his job. He moved away. He changed his entire life. His friends neglected him because his personality changed completely and he became disagreeable. And of course, spatial neglect is an additional one. This is a type of attentional disorder that results in patients being unable to notice anything on either the left or the right side of their body. So if I had this watch on the table and I had left-sided spatial neglect, I couldn't see the left side of this clock. So these people behave as though one side of their world doesn't exist at all. Interestingly, with visual perception, your brain, if you can only see to one side of your body, your brain makes it look like you can see everything, and you think you can see everything, but you can't see to an entire one side. This occurs due to damage to the rear area of the parietal lobe. That just aims to help remember this information. Spatial neglect, attentional, behaving as though one side of your world doesn't exist, and that this results from damage to the parietal lobe. But you need to know about spatial neglect as well. It's very interesting. This is one of those that I recommend. You'll have more time outside of the session, read up on it. Really interesting, as well as how visual information was processed. It was really interesting as well.